Hello and welcome to Geek at Play Studio Tutorials. In this tutorial we'll look how to create spherical terrains, and because that terrain is applied for the global value of all your terrain, not just one to replace, the option to create is actually located in File and Options. Again, this is a global change, so it's sometimes it kind of hard to find, and a question come up why it's located here, and the reason is why, because it's not just the terrain you're replacing, it's overall global settings which affect all layers: water, cloud, atmosphere, and of course the terrain. So to enable this, you need go to your units and coordinates tab inside the options, and we have it right here, block that is spherical scenes. So to enable, just click on a box. By default it will enable, and the radius is set to 6,400 kilometers, which is actually Earth radius. Before we enable planetary terrain, let's preview and say what in this case what's happened. To better observe, let me create just only 1 kilometer radius. So let's click OK, and you notice right here, if we zoom out, here's our terrain, and we have it kind of like curving terrain at this point. So now if we look on our render, you can see we have this curving that is happen in a terrain, and the reason is why we have two of those. The one, if you look on the ground and you go create the ecosystem, you actually can add plants or any other rocks or other objects as an ecosystem, even on this curvy planetary kind of look terrain. So of course it will set as dynamic population. We don't want to have it populate manually and run out of memory. Okay, and when we render, you can preview right here. So we have it this even on curving, we have it terrain populating with our plants. Okay, let's go. Right now we just leave it even plants right there populating. So we'll go in our file, options, and we go enable planetary terrain. Of course it says let us know warning, and you know what, let's decrease this to 100 meters so we make them smaller as well. Next option below, it's how you want to map, where you want like a center, and by default it's 0 longitude and latitude, and I want to leave it as is right now. So you notice right here when we did it, it's actually not creating full planet. As well, we have an ecosystem is disappearing. Even we still have it here in dynamic population, or even we enable and click populate, okay, you'll notice it's still 0 instance, so it doesn't populate on those ones. However, if you still creating, you're still painting over, so you can enable your painter in a brush, and you can just still kind of painting over your terrain if you want it. So painter still work as the same as before. Okay, but ecosystem won't work on the spherical terrains. Okay, so let me delete it right now, this layer. Okay, the one thing when you're creating terrains, spherical terrains, you probably mostly it is for the planetary look, see how the planets, some similarity, or maybe infinity zoom in out. The one thing, it's using ground and it's using infinity terrain, so let's replace it with this, and we'll just say blob one. Let's select it, says replace it, and also it will add sea level, which we disable currently. Okay, and when we preview, again, because this is creating with a fractal, the best part of this, I don't think you will use this every day, but you can zoom in directly to the ground. So let's drop right here. Okay, maybe just repositioning. Again, and with procedurals, it's where you calculate. So we still have all these incredible details of the terrain. Doesn't matter what altitude we're going with. Okay, couple things you need kind of pay attention when you start working with a terrain, mostly spherical. It is your camera now movements. Pivot point is set to the center of the earth, so it's kind of hard to navigate. You need kind of become used to this. However, if you're going from the global settings and you go per axis, it's work fine. You always can switch to your local position, and in that case, it's one set by the pivot that much drag. Okay, so let's switch back to the global. Okay, so let me move my sun, and I want to take my camera. Okay, let's look down to our planet. Okay, and maybe just zoom it out. So I want to actually see my planet far away. Okay, so one thing you notice when you create, it doesn't look like a space. We have it all this glowing atmosphere, and the reason is why, because we set our planet, if you remember, to 100 meters, if I'm right, but we still have it our sky altitude set to 3 kilometers, same as all other one, decay and other ones. Be sure when you're creating, you set to the right altitude your atmosphere. Okay, as well all other settings. On that case, you kind of will represent properly around. As well, be sure your haze and fog as well will apply to properly size of the planet or asteroid, whatever you try to make. Clouds, this is actually very, how I say, because it's global settings, it will apply to all. Let's create clouds, and one thing you notice, it's come with a preset planetary clouds already. Even you can use other ones. Those ones is kind of better design for that, for the clouds. Okay, so let me just cancel on this one. Okay, let me just add normal one. Okay, and I'll delete planetary. So again, right here, if we zoom out, you can see with atmosphere link. So obviously it's way above, and we need to go down and maybe set to 10 meters. So it will come closer. And again, at height, let's set to 50 meters. Okay, on that case, we kind of try to create layer more related to the size of our planet. Of course, if we keep it as a regional Earth size, the atmosphere will just fit perfectly without any modification on this case. Again, we can modify a few things like opacity, cover. Okay, we also have the sea level in, so let's enable the sea level. And you notice right here we have it, our water. To modify, all what you need to do is just kind of drag, increase, decrease, and you can notice the level C will modify it as well. Okay, let's just slightly decreasing. Okay, and because again, this is applied to the global change on water, all the waves and all properties like foam on by the coastal or lowers, it will apply as well. So we can go ahead, edit this object, and you have the same options like on your normal water. You have a displacement, you can apply all direction. And if we open material to edit, we also have it our form and default. So this is your normal materials. This is one of the unique things about Spherical. If we have it all around, the view calculating and mapping properly on a spherical all our procedure terrain, water, atmosphere, all the options. So let's take my camera and move closer. Okay, and let's turn it off. Okay, currently we kind of like in a bird view over the planet. Now, another trick when you start working with a terrain on this kind of scale, it is apply properly materials. So let's open our material editor, and you notice we have some grains. So same things, you can go ahead and apply different type. Okay, we have it patches. Okay, natural selection, and right here. So we have a distance field. Let's apply that one. Okay, we already have it a little bit better. And next, what we need to do is just work again how we done before with our other materials. Okay, let's go to switch on this way. Okay, and again, this is a little bit too big, so I'll try to stretch, make it visible. Okay, and I just want to increase roughness and gain, so we have a little bit more kind of randomness in our terrain. And again, we can apply more and more options to our terrain to have a little bit more natural look with the green patching and other ones. So let's go to change this to darker color. Okay, so in this case, we apply additional materials. Couple other things you can modify it, and keep it in mind again, how say, because this is okay, let me do a couple things. Let me remove, actually we'll just disable, make it invisible, our clouds. Again, because you're working with like normal terrain, you can change this terrain as we looked before when we modified our own infinity. So let's go to edit object. Right here we have our terrain in infinity, and how I say, the mapping and in procedural it's done very well. So you have it no lines, no stitching. It's very smoothly applied together. We'll go to edit arrow function, and it's same like we looked before. We can go inside and modify some of the settings so we have it different look. For example, increase or decrease our larger features. Okay, also maybe pop up a little bit on the roughness. Okay, let's click OK on this case. So we already modified, we'll based on this, and as infinity terrain, that will apply instantly to all of ours. And you know what? A couple of things I want to modify till we're here. I want to actually decrease scale, so it will be a little bit more bumpy looking. Okay, let's go take our main camera. Oops, just select main camera, move it a little bit far away. Let's go right here and let's preview just small modification we did. Okay, here we have it modified our terrain just slightly, so we increase the details. But again, if you create asteroid with a approximate size what we have it before, you probably want to increase the scale, so our bumps will apply a little bit bigger. Okay, so we can even increase higher and see. Okay, right here, let's go inside and increase larger features as well. Just give it increase on the scale in this case. Okay. Okay. The other things what I want to show you, it's when you work with atmosphere editor, be sure when you work with the clouds, the couple things you want to pay attention. Besides how I say the altitude, okay, the height of this, the important things what I find the opacity. So you actually don't want to have it very high opacity on this, but with higher density to give you kind of better depth on your clouds as well. Okay, let's edit. We apply this darker ambient color that will also provide a little bit more depth to the clouds on your layer. And of course, you can add multiple clouds layers so it can create very complex look between of them. So let's drop down this one. Okay, this is just a, oops, let me zoom out a little bit. That way, we'll take our main camera, move a little bit out. Okay, let's go on a sun as well. One thing with sun, what you can do, it is set the soft shadows. And let's go to atmosphere. Let's put list on global radiosity so we have a little bit light bouncing. Okay, the water sea maybe a little bit too big. So let's decreasing so we'll see more ground working through this. Okay, and if you remember an atmosphere editor, let's disable wind and effect. We can always enable stars. Let's make a little bit more of them and brighter. And here we can render our little planet we just created. Okay, so right here we have our planet with the clouds layers, which is actually we can probably reduce a little bit more on the density, so there will be semi-transparent on this case. But you can see how this small modification we can learn before we can apply to spherical terrain to create realistic kind of look small planets or wherever you want for yours. And again, this is some limited usage for this planet. You can use it, just interesting to know it exists there. If you needed to create some environment, you can preview that way. Thank you for watching this tutorial in Geek at Play Studio. Please remember, visit us on the web at www.geekatplay.com.